It's a sad truth that many players don't realise when to leave a club. Wilfried Zaha cost himself Champions League football when he signed a huge deal with Crystal Palace in 2017, while Eden Hazard was already 28 and slowing down when he switched to Real Madrid. Now Harry Kane, long linked with a move away from Tottenham, is reportedly considering his future, but with a contract running until 2024, an exit will be far from straightforward. Though reports suggest the forward remained Jose Mourinho's most prominent supporter in the dressing room, Kane is clearly frustrated with the club's progress this campaign. 28 this July, and at the time of writing, Kane is yet to earn the first trophy of his career. And while he could remedy that in this year's European Championship, that is unlikely to be enough for one of the best strikers of his generation. And while we've heard that tune before, paper chatter makes the prospect more plausible this time. According to The Athletic, Tottenham will resist interest from other Premier League sides, but would countenance a sale for around £120 million, enough to rebuild an erratic back line and finance a solid replacement. But with war chests depleted by COVID, Kane's homegrown status and Haaland on the market, Daniel Levy may have to consider selling to a rival if he wants to back the manager in the summer. So which suitor would fit Kane best? How has his game changed this season, and who can actually afford him? Let's try to find out. The possibilities. At the time of writing, there were 3 principal buyers for Harry Kane: Manchester United, Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain, but all have different needs and different ways of playing. Kane would not fit equally well for all of them. To be honest, PSG make little sense to us. Though the French giants are currently in their toughest title race since 2017, their problem this season has not been scoring goals, with the most prolific front line in the country and 3rd best in Europe so far this campaign. Mauro Icardi has played under 1,000 league minutes, and Moise Kean has netted 12 in 21 starts, suggesting that the third role in an attack featuring Neymar and Mbappe can be filled by someone considerably less expensive than Kane. Just like last season when they reached the Champions League final with Choupo-Moting playing a key role. The Parisians also have needs in midfield and in both fullback slots to attend to, but even if they didn't, stylistically Kane may not fit the side. Though of course he previously flourished under Maurizio Pochettino, he was in the worst form of his career by the time the Argentinian left White Hart Lane, and he may no longer have the defensive intensity Poch needs. Currently Kane makes around 11.6 pressures a game, which puts him in the bottom 28% of strikers across Europe. That's actually lower than Neymar's tally of 12.6 a game, but the issue here is Mbappe. The Frenchman closes down opponents just 6 times per 90, placing him in the bottom 1% of forwards for work rate. But while PSG can afford to carry the youngster out of possession, they can't carry him and Kane and Neymar. Like Benzema did with Ronaldo and Bale, PSG's third attacker needs to work like a demon to make up for the talented coasters either side of him, and at this point of his career, that doesn't sound like Kane. So that leaves us with the Manchester clubs. City's needs. What do Man City want from a striker? It seems a silly question as everyone wants the same thing from their frontman: goals. However, City clearly aren't lacking cutting edge. Guardiola's side has more XG than anyone else in the Prem this season, and despite missing Sergio Aguero and experimenting with Silva, Foden and Torres up front, they've scored more than expected with 71 from a prediction of 66. What they perhaps could benefit from is a different weapon, and Kane might offer just that. Despite taking the 3rd most shots in Europe this season, City ranks 61st of 98 for headed efforts, and while that's clearly a product of how they play, preferring cutbacks to crosses, having someone over 6 foot tall in the final third could be useful, especially in tight matches. Mostly though, playing for City is about getting good shots. Aguero and Jesus both took 4.5 a game last season, and Kane compares well, reaching 4 per 90 this term after slipping under 3 in a poor 2019-20. And though he shoots from further out than Pep would like, 17.8 yards on average, compared to 13 for Aguero and 11 for Jesus, that's probably down to his lack of creative support in North London, as well as Mourinho's conservative tactics. Where the Englishman differs from City's forwards is in his build-up play. Guardiola's frontmen both dribble a lot, with Aguero on 1.7 take-ons per 90 and Jesus at 2.3, while Kane barely creeps past 1. Instead, he's a bigger passing presence, making about 1.3 passes into the box a game, twice as many as Jesus, and even dropping into midfield to hit 3 passes into the final third a match, more than both South Americans put together. So getting the best of Kane at City would involve convincing him to see less of the ball outside the box, and spend more time moving into goal-scoring spots, and trusting that better teammates could find him. However, defence is again a weak point. City's huge share of possession means they don't always post big pressure numbers, but Aguero averaged 14 a game last year, while Jesus topped the squad on 18. In a non-Covid year, with Premier League teams playing at their normal energy levels, Kane might not be able to keep the pace off the ball. Though we're sure he'd score bucketfuls there, the Etihad might not be the best home for him. United's hole. Though there's only a few goals between them in attack this year, United don't boast City's offensive power. Their 64 strikes have come from 55 XG, and the tally has been boosted by 9 penalties awarded, so an attacking upgrade would be welcome. At present, only Mason Greenwood breaks 3 shots a game in the Red Devils squad, and whoever comes in needs to be adept at getting close to goal. Rashford and Bruno are taking their shots from an average of 18 yards and 23 yards respectively, and one reason Cavani has made such a difference is his ability, despite his elderly knees, to find space in the box, with his attempts coming from a squad best 10 yards out. Kane could surely help there, but he might have more to offer as a distributor. Creativity has been a problem for United this season. Only Shaw, Fernandes and Rashford have made more than 1 key pass a game in the squad, and Rashford is on 1.2. By comparison, Kane is the top creator in the league with 13 assists already, but there are some questions over whether that output would transfer to another side. That assist tally is roughly double what expected goals would predict, suggesting Kane would normally have around 6 assists this year. And it's also worth pointing out that his expected assists per 90 has generally been half of what it is now over the last 3 years, about 0.1 per 90 instead of 0.2, so perhaps he has added a new skill to his game and will be a plus creator from now on, though his 1.4 key passes a game suggests otherwise. But it's also possible that this is largely a fluke, or at least down to the telepathic connection he has developed with Heung-Min Son, which of course will not be in place with Marcus Rashford. Nonetheless, Kane doesn't need to be one of the best providers in the Prem to add value as a creator, and he'd provide a focal point for United's attack and take the goal-scoring burden off Bruno and Rashford, not to mention the fact he's homegrown. If United can find the cash and convince Levy to sell, Old Trafford seems like the best possible home for Kane. Conclusion. We've mostly spoken about Kane on the pitch so far, but of course he's spent considerable time off it in the last 3 years, while his insistence on rushing back from injuries has previously led to recurrent ankle issues. And given Kane's likely price and his 28th birthday approaching, those worries can't simply be waved away. If United wish to act on their interest in England's number 9, they'd need to part with at least £150 million. And to do that, they'd need to be confident that Kane would yield a better return on the investment than anyone else they could buy, like, for instance, Jadon Sancho and a defensive midfielder. That means that the mouth-watering link-up between Bruno Fernandes and Kane is unlikely to happen, and the forward will start next season a Spurs player. However, if Mourinho's successor doesn't improve results, expect to see the same rumours about a dissatisfied Kane in 12 months' time. And that's all we have time for today, but which club do you think would suit Kane the best? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Bye for now.